Hello and welcome back. Today we'll be working on something a little bit different. As you can see, there hasn't been a lot of uploads recently, and that's because I have decided to change a bit how I want to approach the Workit project. So in meantime, we are starting a new series called Building Your Own Side Hustles. And the project that I want to start with is satisfaction / feedback gathering software. So this is what we are going to cover today. The setup for this project will be quite similar to the one I did on Workit. So if you guys want, you can go to that video and watch this. I will probably just record the setup as time-lapse and you can follow along. I will add some text to let you know, guys, what we are doing here. And after the initial setup is done, we'll talk a little bit more about the project. So let's get started. Okay, so after 10,000 hours, because it was my first Laravel 8 setup trying the breeze, I actually managed to install both like Vue, Tailwind, and all the important stuff. I created a small seeder just so we have some sort of roles. So a team lead would be a person that's responsible for the team, and what our app should actually do. So our app will act, let's say, like a hotjar. They have a service like that, where when a user is on a specific page, they can get a pop-up and be asked to provide how is their satisfaction. Are they satisfied with the app, or they are not satisfied? So this is something that we will want to build and create a SaaS out of this. So the first thing we want to do is build a prototype. So here's our dashboard. We won't do any styling for now. So what we want to do now is build a page where a user will be able to create new surveys and attach forms to them, look at the customer replies and how they like the page. So let's start with this. Let's create a new model in separate view. So let's call it a survey because this seems like a good name. And let's also create a migration with this and factory. Okay. But what we want to also do is create a team model, also with migration factory. Okay, so let's add a name to our theme. And this name, it will be just something to be shown in settings. So we have to add for an ID for theme, and then we should be good to go, I guess. Our team will have a name. The permissions are fine. And then in service, I cannot pronounce that, sorry. Here we'll store the team ID and we'll store the person who created it. Then we'll want some sort of name. And I think maybe some sort of identifier, so an UID. Let's create that, and this should work, at least for now. So now what we have to do is adjust our team factory. I don't even know how this faker, okay, it's still a bit new to me. So this faker name, or the receiving company, yeah. So let's add this one to Git. And then in our survey, let's leave it blank for now. So let's go to our seeder once again. And the first thing we'll do is add a truncate to teams, so we're sure that we don't have any teams. Now create a team. And we'll attach this team ID to our user. If it works like it worked on Laravel 7, then it should work. Okay, it seems that we're good to go. So let's try to run our seeder once again. And we get an error. That's because we need to run a fresh migration. And now let's run our seed. Okay, it worked. So now if you go to our browser and reload the page, we'll see that we are a different user. And if we take a look in the database, our user actually has a team ID. So that's great. Okay. So let's create a new route for our service. Or maybe do it in a proper way and create a controller. So let's not cut corners and do it the proper way. Let's assign our route to the controller, to the index route, clean up the code and go into the controller. We won't be ending any of this stuff, so let's clean it up. Add it to Git, and now we can create our index function. So it will just return an index with a list of service. The only issue, oh, this will be fine. The only issue we have now, let's create a dog block so it doesn't scream at us. So here, what we would like to do is show a list of all service. So let's take our user and maybe take him from request. So request user team service. I should do something with my linter because it's driving me crazy. But I guess this works too. Okay. So let's create a relationship between our user and our team. So a user belongs to the team. That makes sense. We don't have to specify this, but I'd like to be specific when it comes to migrations. Let's add our return type. Go to our team, and here we can add relationship to service, and a team can have many service. Okay. So this should work on paper. But first of all, we don't have the link in navbar, which isn't a big deal. We can, go there directly. It shouldn't be singular. Okay, so now we can see that our view doesn't exist. Let's go to views. Service and create an index. And for now, let's use this layout. And we can show each survey here. Each survey here. Each survey here. Okay. Survey index does not exist. It should be surveys. Okay. We don't have any. So maybe let's create another route to create a new survey. add a new form, add our CSRF. The method will be post and our action will be service.store. We could create a resource controller for this, but I like to be explicit. So we'll need a post for store, and then we'll need a get for create. I guess there should be a component for an input. There is. So let's copy it. Okay, so let's go to service create. Let's define our new route for the store. Reload the page, and as ugly as it is, we get the form. So now create the store method, add our custom request, so it will be service store request. And the only thing here that we need for now is the name. So let's make it required and give it some reasonable min and max length. So now all we need to do is do something like that. Return after service created. Give it a name. And we'll override the default validated rule. So data will be this validator validated, and we'll override the user ID to be this user ID, and then return the data. And this will be an array, and this will be an array. This is because we want to store the person who created the survey, and we already have here a relationship based on team. So let's do a test. And before I do that, let's go to survey, to our model, and disable the guarded, the mass field protection. That's interesting. That's because of a typo here. Now it will work. Oh yeah, the UID field doesn't have a default value. So this is something that we can also delegate here. So let's just cast UID4 to string, and we are good to go. As you can see, it works. So later on, we'll create a plugin that will allow us to embed this component on the page. But for now, let me show you how the component will look. We'll be using library, a free view library, which is called view feedback reaction. We have it already installed, so let's see how do we use it. Seems to be pretty straightforward, so let's use it here. And add the component usage here. And in theory, when we add this to our view, so maybe we can create something like survey details. Add a link for each of our survey. Then we have to add the function controller. That will return yet another view. So let's format our file, add the proper return types. And extend the return type so PHP Storm doesn't cry. As he tends to do recently, at least for me. Okay, maybe, we're not doing any styling yet, but let's give it some sort of text blue 500 or something. Okay, then if we take a look, we'll see that our view doesn't exist, which is correct. So we'll create one. And here you can see our component in action. There is some error apparently because, well, this library maybe. No, okay. So they want an array of labels. So let's give them one. Something like but okay, can we do something like this, or do we have to? Oh, yeah, because it should be okay. So horrible, but meh, happy, I love you. Let's see how this works. And it works fine. So now, after we click one of these, the goal is to make a post request to our server, then store the replay here. We'll show additional information. We will show, where the action took place, what was the user IP. You will be able to pass additional data, and all of these will be stored here. So we'll take care of this in the next episode. For this, I think that's all. We got the basic CRUD working, and we got our components. In the next one, we'll probably work on sending our replies and logging them, and then displaying them here. Today was a bit sloppy, but I hope you guys enjoyed it anyways. I will try to be better in next episode. Take care. Bye bye.